Hello and welcome to FPL Expectations with me, Craig. It's a late night one this time. It's a deadline day stream. It's ahead of game week 9, just before Arsenal kick off against Aston Villa. And of course, because I'm talking about Arsenal, I have to bring in an Arsenal fan, surely. Along with me for tonight's show is FplNitro. Nitro, how are you doing, mate?
Hello. Good evening, Craig. Thank you for having me on. I'm doing well. I'm ready for another game week.
Yeah, you talk about Arsenal or FPL?
Uh, you know what? A bit of both. We'll come back to Arsenal as well. I'm kind of excited to watch them play. You did remind me that they're playing later, so I'm a little excited to stay up and watch.
Yeah.
Yes, excited for FPL too.
Yeah, for those of you out there who didn't know, I actually contacted Nitro to come on the show earlier in the evening, under the impression that he's obviously going to be up watching the Arsenal match, but sadly, not quite the case. He didn't even know they were kicking off in just about 2.5 hours' time. But anyway, we'll leave that aside. We'll focus on the FPL. Nitro, I'm not going to mess about. We're going to go straight into it. Game week 8, how did that work out for you?
So after probably 2 game weeks prior that didn't go too well, it was nice to come back and bounce back at a 65 pointer. I only made one transfer. I believe the change was Smith Rowe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, it was Cancelo. I apologize. I swapped him out and brought in Cancelo. Wanted in on a City defender, and yeah, the defense did very well.
Sorry?
What was that? Sorry.
Who did he take out?
Who did I take out? Well, let's have a look because I'm not going to lie, I forgot. Must have been Rudiger, yes. I had Rudiger, was ready for him to play, and yes, he got injured. So I thought the perfect opportunity to jump on Cancelo. The defense looks great. We'll ignore Shaw. Don't ask me why I still have Shaw, but I do.
Dropped in price as well today, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And as we'll see later, I still have him. I don't know why I do this to myself. But we move. He came in for Rafinha, so it didn't do much. Captain Salah, of course, could not go wrong. Absolutely, absolute beauty. Greenwood, who I was actually interested in getting rid of earlier, was I guess was a gem to hold on to. He scored a brilliant goal. And yeah, we got the midfield dons, Antonio and Ronaldo doing their thing. We're sitting at 13K, so not too bad. But yeah, I mean, we'll take a green arrow whenever we can take it.
Definitely, and quite comfortably as well, may I say. I think it's about 20 points up from the average for the week, so definitely going to be happy at that. Right up there in the mix as well. I'm going to say, I mean, trying to break into that top 10K and not too far off, I would think. Just a few points here and there, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to just looking at your team now, and there's one obvious player that you are missing out on. Who everyone, ahead of game week 9 is talking about. And that man is from your rival team, actually, from Chelsea. We're talking about Lukaku, who came off injured against Malmo in midweek in the Champions League. Now, a lot of wildcards were played in game week 8, it has to be said. And Lukaku was, I think, probably the most brought in player for the week. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, whoever's watching the stream. But yeah, you don't own Lukaku, so it probably doesn't concern you too much. But I have to ask you the question: exactly what do Lukaku owners do?
Yeah, it's quite a bummer. I actually feel for Lukaku owners, and quite frankly, I think if you asked me what to do with Lukaku, couple of days ago, midweek, I was actually considering doing the swap of Ronaldo to Lukaku because it's just a simple swap, right? And it's against Norwich at home. I know Lukaku I think he's blanked in the last 3 or 4. It doesn't look very good. The game to kind of put your faith in Lukaku would have to be Norwich at home. So I really do feel for them. The Lukaku injury makes it easier for me because there's more incentive to hold on to Ronaldo. I know he's playing in Liverpool, but given his midweek form, and I don't expect the Liverpool United game to be a clean sheet, I do expect Ronaldo to get involved a little bit. I've heard Bruno is injured, so it could affect it. I do digress. What do Lukaku owners do? The big common trend I've seen personally is to swap to Vardy, another premium forward. and I totally agree with it. I would honestly, if I had a wild card, I would probably do that swap as well. I will say Brentford are a pretty good defensive team, so I don't expect Vardy to haul. Famous last words, of course, but Brentford look pretty good defensively, so I think Vardy might just get a goal or an assist if he's lucky. Um, Leicester are also a quite defensively leaky team, so we'll see how that affects. But I would definitely go for Vardy for sure. There are other budget options as well. I think the majority of us have Antonio. I know he's playing Spurs, but he's a pretty good pick if you don't have him already. I don't know how you wouldn't. Um, then there are your budgets. So you got Huang, who's had a lot of talk, the Wolves striker playing with Jimenez, who's also a great pick. I personally don't like the look of Wolves. I feel like there's a lot of hype around them, and then when it comes to the real thing, they just don't really perform. I say that, and then Huang might just go ahead and implode with another haul. But yeah, I think for me, the swap to Vardy would be the easiest. However, as we'll as we'll talk about later in Game Week 9 reveal, a lot of people are jumping onto the Havertz train because Werner is out as well, so there's not that pick for a Chelsea striker. So it's very easy to go for Werner because he plays in midfield, 8.5, and he's probably gonna play out of position. And I've seen a tweet here and there about him playing better as a striker, scoring I think one point more on average as a striker. So that just sounds really good.
Timo Werner.
I'm talking about Havertz.
Oh, Havertz. Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you said Werner in there. I was like, what?
I mentioned Werner because he's out as well. So yeah,
I was just about to say. So Kai Havertz is obviously the kind of natural replacement because obviously both Lukaku and Werner are out. But the Vardy one was quite interesting, and I'm just going to touch on something that you said just now. Wolves. I mean, you mentioned Huang. You did not mention Jimenez, and as you were doing that bit, I was just reading through, and there is a bit of doubt over Jimenez coming into this match, and it's a tough one because obviously I think there's quite a few that jumped on the budget option, which is Huang, after he exploded a couple of weeks back. Didn't really return for most of them, like myself, who picked him in the wild card in game week 8. But if Jimenez is a doubt, I mean, he's surely the natural replacement to take that spot.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say doubt, by the way, do you mean like he's injured or?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna read you the tweet as I've seen it, and basically, the manager Langer said this. Let me just find that tweet. He's training. He feels okay. So tomorrow I take my decision.
Oh,
yeah. And following up from that, yeah, very vague. Ben Ramsdale said, that's right. He said he will travel with the squad tomorrow, but won't make a decision until the day on whether he would play or not. I wouldn't bank on it personally. So that's for all you Jimenez owners out there. If you weren't aware of those news, I think it just came through in the last couple of hours. So big decision there to make for you if you have Jimenez and Lukaku. But yeah, just going back to this Lukaku situation, I don't think we've really touched on it. Havertz obviously is a natural replacement, but the problem is obviously he plays in midfield in FPL. I mean, he's classified as a midfielder. And on the flip side of it, you mentioned Vardy, who would be an easy transfer to get in, considering Lukaku costs more. It's an easy downgrade to Vardy. But as you touched upon, Brentford aren't too bad either.
Yeah, they're not that bad. I think they're definitely one of the promoted sides that caught us off guard. I personally came into the season thinking, okay, they're not going to be, they might be like a Watford or Norwich, but they have been impressing. That's the issue about the Havertz pick. If you do have Lukaku, is chances are you're going to be making 2 transfers. That could be a hit for some people because you're going to maybe downgrade Lukaku, and then you want to get Havertz in the midfield slot. So that will be 2 transfers, something to think about. Nice thing about the Vardy pick is that it's just 1 transfer. If you got 1 free transfer, you should be fine. Vardy is Vardy. He's in form. He's kind of up there with Salah. Salah gets a lot of the hype, and understandably so. But Vardy has been showing, returns almost to the level of Salah. I think he's I think blanked in 1 or 2 games since the start of the season. So
Yeah.
yeah, great pick.
Very, very good form. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those. It's how many hits are you willing to take? I mean,
Yes.
to get someone like Havertz in, you'd probably have to take a -4 to get him in. But if you're prepared to roll with your midfielders and a good bench, providing Chelsea and City, you never know what's going on with their rotation, especially if you're a Chilwell owner. but it's one of those, I mean, Vardy is a sensible pick. It's boring. I don't know if you can say that. It's a boring pick. But, I mean, like you said, the form is sometimes too hard to ignore. So you have to go with it. But I'm going to bring up another name here, which kind of throws a bit of a span into the works. You mentioned Brentford and how well they've done. I mean, Ivan Toney, I've just looked at Brentford's fixtures and a bit tasty. Do you fancy Ivan Toney, number one? And do you fancy a Brentford double up with Mbeumo and Toney?
Right. That you bring up a really good point. And yes, Brentford have really good looking fixtures. And I'm gonna be real. I I I would not go with Tony. That's just me. If you are willing to go, I don't see why not. I
Yeah,
prefer Buemo, if I pronounce his name right,
yeah,
Buemo a lot more because at 5.5, I believe 5.5, right? Are you still at five? Yes, 5.6 now. Sorry, budget midfielder. He's a midfielder and he's out of position. He's playing up front with Tony.
with Toney. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
he's hit the post the most times than
yeah.
any player
I
this
saw that
season.
stat too.
I mean, absolutely ridiculous. And me as Mbeumo owner in the last game, absolutely kicking myself. I was like,
Oh,
oh yeah. But and I think he hit it twice against Chelsea.
yeah.
But again, I'm also an Aspi owner, so it was one of those like, do I want do I want the Mbeumo points or do I want a clean sheet? Obviously, I'd prefer 2 goals from Mbeumo.
True.
But yeah, I mean, what do you fancy a Brentford double up? And Mbeumo, fantastic budget option at 5.5. Tony rose in price, I think, last night. Do you fancy that ahead of this week, or is the sensible option still Lukaku to Jamie Vardy?
Okay, the Jamie Vardy swap is definitely the safest option because it's just proven, right? Like Vardy is showing form. I would actually venture to say almost fixture proof because he's on pens, I believe, and
Yeah.
he's just Vardy. He's pacey. He
Rest
knows
of
how
the
to
midweek,
cause.
by the way. Rest of the midweek.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the
So I
European
mean,
fixture. Daka
yeah,
got 4
yeah.
goals.
Right.
We haven't even mentioned, we're focusing so much on Vardy. I haven't even really mentioned Daka scoring 4 goals. Could he take Iheanacho's place? Could you get, some value there maybe? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's another thing, But let's just focus on Jamie Vardy and like what you're saying, he's going to start in the Premier League. He's in form. But short-term wise, Jamie Vardy. Long-term wise, someone else maybe? Or is Jamie Vardy the safe bet, the route to go, and take that one transfer that you have this week? Done.
Ooh. So it depends how you consider. I would actually venture to say Vardy is a pretty good long term. Actually, I'll switch to this tab here since it's on the screen.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a look at Vardy's fixtures, and they look kind of rough. But if you look at that stretch from 9 to 17, other than maybe Chelsea, it's not a bad looking stretch. Watford, Southampton, and Newcastle are in the mix as well. And like I said, like Vardy's the kind of guy that would score against Chelsea. It's just I don't know why. It's just his little way of it's just Vardy, isn't it? So
I know he loves scoring against Arsenal. I know that for a fact.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm not too sure what his record against Chelsea is like. But
I'm not sure either. But
Yeah.
he is that kind of guy.
I know
that
what you
would
mean.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would actually say he's not a bad pick for a long term. I think if I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Lukaku and Werner are out for at least 2 games.
Yeah,
So
correct. Including
it's
this
definitely
one.
worth jumping on some form of transfer because it's not worth holding on to Lukaku at this stage, right? You can bring him back later.
Yeah.
He's gonna miss the Norwich game and whatever the next game is, which is Newcastle, right? And Burnley will have to see whether he's fit or not. So I would go with Vardy. If the double up is not really, I'm not really too interested in the double up. I would
Tony
definitely,
and Buemo.
yeah, I would pick Buemo only.
Okay.
I just like the look of him. No disrespect to Tony, he's a great player, but in FPL,
he hasn't really returned, has he? I think he's got 1 goal so far.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a nuisance. Don't get me wrong. You know, he causes a problem, but yeah, he's lacked that finishing touch, hasn't he?
Yeah, and when you think about when you're paying 5.5 for a midfielder who's
like 6
playing as a striker.
Okay. Yeah, sorry.
I'm talking about Buemo, sorry. So when you pay 5.6 budget price and your 5.5er is playing like a striker, it's just screaming value. I would much rather have a 5.5 that plays like a striker, right?
And hits the post more regularly.
Yeah. Imagine if you got bonus points for hitting the window.
I know, right?
You would get all 3.
I probably captain him more than Salah on a weekly basis.
Whoa, no, so stop there. You never want to captain anyone over Salah. You know from now on.
Oh, God. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those. Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot right now, all right? And, move on to your game week 19. But before we do that, I need to put you on the spot and ask you. So, Lukaku to Vardy or take a -4 to get Kai Havertz into your team?
Ooh. It's a -4, right? Just to repeat.
Yeah.
I'm
just going on the basis that you've got to take Lukaku out and replace him with a striker, and you've got to take a midfielder out to get Havertz in, right? You can't do a like for like.
Ooh, I would actually go for Havertz if it's a -4, provided that there's not a lot of Chelsea coverage in your team. So if you have a Chelsea defender, it might deter you from wanting to take the hit because you kind of have a bit of a safety net. I think Chelsea are pretty good with getting that clean sheet. I'd be surprised if they didn't get the clean sheet. So that's a guaranteed 6-pointer right there. And if you have Chilwell, he could score a goal for all we know. I'm seeing Juan Zulemi say, "Come on, take the hit." I've been a lot more.
I haven't got to the comments yet, so
I know I couldn't help but to mention it. But I was thinking I've been very, very frugal with my hits this season. It's just the approach I'm trying to take. But if you're putting me on the spot, so I will answer it. I will take the hit for Havertz because if he plays up front, I think he's bound to score, especially in the.
Well, he's not going to play anywhere else, no, Joe. I'll give you a heads up on that. He's playing up front.
There you go. So it's just like the same thing with Mbeumo. It's value and out of position. We like it.
Just going to say hi to a couple of the guys that are watching us on the stream. Vincent, how you doing? Always an avid follower of FPL Expectations. Appreciate you coming on. Astralicious as well. Pleasure to have you on as always because you're a regular on the show as well. We'll come to your questions just a bit later on and definitely before the deadline. I will touch on Wanzo Jaime saying, "Come on, Nick, just take the hit." He's not Joe. He's not Joe. He doesn't do things like that.
To be fair, with Joe, you don't have to tell him. With me,
exactly. He does it. He just does it naturally, doesn't he? All right, Nitro. We're going to move on to your game week 9 team and see what transfer you've made. I mean, being a non-Lukaku owner, it's been a little bit easier for you this week, hasn't it? You didn't have to stress and sweat about the injury and the news coming out of the Chelsea camp, but you have used your free transfer and enlighten us on what transfer that was.
All right, so I've used my one free transfer, and that is formerly Greenwood to Havertz. It was just the obvious choice after hearing about Lukaku. For the rest of the team, it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, I will come clean. I posted my team on Twitter earlier today, and I played a 4-4-2 with Ben White instead of Ben Rama. I was thinking of benching Ben Rama, and then I kind of remembered I wanted to back the attack over the over the defense. And I know I'm an Arsenal fan. I should back my boys, but I just feel like Ben Rama's more likely to score than Ben White. I know it's Spurs. It's also Spurs. I mean, I guess that's a little biased, but yeah, I prefer the all out attack almost. So we've gone with that. I've played Sanchez over Foster. I didn't like the way Liverpool kind of opened them up, but at the same time, I actually venture to say Brighton have been pretty okay defensively. Not the best, but they have been, I think, statistically pretty good up there, quite surprisingly.
I think it's a bit better than we expected them, right? I mean, especially after losing Ben White, who was so integral to that defense. Tariq Lamptey, who was their first choice right back, has been out, hasn't even played this season. I think he's back to fitness now. So, it hasn't been a very settled defense, shall we say. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, they're right up there in the league. They've been all right defensively. Sanchez has been, coming in with the points. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough ask this week. Don't get me wrong. You wouldn't be playing Sanchez or anyone like that. But, or Mark comes up with a good point here. Brighton beat City last season. Right. I don't know. I mean, I just, every time I look at City, and especially after how they played midweek, I mean, I know Brighton probably might have done a little bit better, but I thought City were just absolutely exceptional. But yeah, so the move that you've done is Greenwood to Kai Havertz. You said earlier on, why that you've made that move over to Kai Havertz, and it's a reasonable one. He's going to be playing up front. He's a midfielder. Talk about value. You're going to get value for the next couple of game weeks, definitely. But looking around at your team, Ben Rama, I mean, that's one that really sticks out to me, that you've kept him in that side. And I know he's had a rest midweek, and a lot of FPL managers, and I'm talking about the top dogs here, have got rid. I mean, they had him at the start of the season. They've jumped off that wagon. What's made you keep Said Ben Rama?
Okay, one of the real reasons is he's actually been on the radar to be shipped out for a long time now. But as, of course, a lot of injuries, other things, pressing issues come up first. He's not injured. He's not really a rotation risk at this point. It could be a 1, 2, 3-pointer. I'll still keep him. It's also, I haven't had the privilege of being able to activate my wildcard yet. I'm one of the many that I don't think have played their wildcard. I'm hoping to hold it until 12 or 13. So I don't have the flexibility of getting rid of him to upgrade or to downgrade. And around the 6 million bracket, other than Rafinha and maybe Sarr, it's not a lot of good options. I don't like the Traore hype. I think he's getting a lot of hype, but then he just doesn't perform, does he? So
definitely.
Yeah, I've held on to Ben Rama. I think he's blanked in the last couple. Yeah, he's blanked in the last couple, so it doesn't look very good. Still points, but yeah, the main reason is because I didn't have the flexibility of getting rid of him and swapping him. Other issues came into mind. I think one of them was Rudiger. I'm
just going to throw this out there. Like, could you have done Ben Rama to Havertz? I'm not sure if it money-wise.
I couldn't have afforded him.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I had to do Greenwood.
Yeah, I'm just asking basically just because I mean, Greenwood scored obviously last weekend, and you might have wanted to keep him on.
If I had the funds, Ben Rama would have gone. And I would keep Greenwood because Greenwood, Greenwood's just he's good.
yeah. I mean, he's Greenwood, isn't he? So always lethal. Well, whether it's in or around the box or outside the box, as we saw last week, really. Yeah. But yeah, okay. So that's settled. Kai Havertz in for Mason Greenwood for you. Obviously, a great pick. Captaincy, I can see you put it on Salah. Liverpool obviously play Liverpool play Man United. Why not Captain Havertz versus Norwich if he's playing up front? And I know it's a tough one considering the form that Salah's in. I mean, arguably the best player in the world right now, and that's coming from a Man United fan, right? And without my Man United cap on, surely top versus bottom, surely it's a no-brainer. Midfielder playing up front. I mean, come on, what more do you want?
Yeah. I think I mentioned in my tweet when I released my team that
Yeah.
it's on Salah because it was Salah last week.
Hmm.
But Havertz is teasing me. We're getting close to the deadline too, but
Yeah,
he's
we're very
teasing
close.
me.
We're just over. We're 40 minutes away from the deadline, by the way. I like to
Oh,
do it five. I like to do it 5 minutes earlier, so I'm going to say 35 minutes from the deadline, just so your lines don't crash or the app doesn't crash and the
yeah,
website doesn't. I like to just be a little bit safe there. But I
definitely.
have to ask you this question before we move on to the Q's and A's, if we have any, which I think we do in the comments. But yeah, just sticking on this. Why Salah over Havertz?
I thought long and hard about it because obviously the switch to Havertz was easy, but then I
Yeah.
was like, Norwich at home. I might as well go the full way, right? I've seen a lot of interesting things. Liverpool at home are different gravy. At home, Liverpool are just you should be captaining Salah regardless if Liverpool play at home.
Hmm.
At away versus stronger teams. No disrespect to United, but United are a stronger team, right? And they're playing away. Liverpool have a tendency to like to play
United are a
below.
stronger team than Liverpool. Is that what you said?
Like a
Or one
good
of the stronger
matchup.
teams in the
There's
league?
no Watford, definitely. They're definitely a
Okay.
lot better than
Okay.
Watford.
Yeah.
I, as a team that's only kept one clean sheet, United, and just defensively with Varane out as well, they just haven't looked the same. You watch the game against Leicester, and they concede 4 goals. It just didn't really look good. Liverpool are coming off. They're very confident right now. Salah is obviously going to be very confident. Um, those factors kind of played in for me. I wanted to back form over fixture this time because
Mm.
the last time I backed fixture over form, Salah ended up hauling 13 points, and it hurt my rank really bad. So
Yeah.
it's just a safe option when you pay 12 million. It's just a safe option if you're ever unsure. However, if you're looking to chase, Havertz captain is just as good. It's just we have to really bank it on the fixture because Havertz, I think recently, I haven't heard of anything. Yeah, I mean, he's blanked in the last 5, and one of them he didn't play. So it's not much to go off of for Havertz. You're just really banking that Norwich are going to be bad and Chelsea
Mm.
are going to come full storm at home. That's why I've gone for Salah. Is the form is really screaming at me, and Man United not looking very good at the back is kind of what I'm banking on.
Yeah. I mean, understandable. As a United fan, I mean, it's been an absolute shambles at the back with Varane out. I mean, you always stand a chance whether it's Lindelof or Bailly playing. So yeah, I mean, totally understand that, but I mean, it could be a massive, massive jump in rank for you if this pulls through because I believe could be totally wrong here. I know Big Man Baka has has followed suit and he's or you follow suit and you've captained Salah, whichever way around that is. But I mean, I expect a lot of Havertz captainage as well. Going on this. But okay, we've talked about your team. That's your game week 19. Any changes to formations? Any hits? I mean, you got half an hour, I would say. Is this pretty much settled for you?
I think I'm pretty happy with this. I don't intend on taking a hit, but yeah,
Yeah.
Rafinha, Ben Rama, Smith Rowe, those boys in the middle, Havertz and Salah. I'm kind of hoping for a lot from them. Uh, Obviously, I didn't have Lukaku, so keeping Ronaldo is a lot easier. I don't expect the Liverpool United match to be 0-0 or anyone to keep a clean sheet for that matter. I think there are going to be goals. I know I say that, and I also own Trent, but I
Yeah.
think Trent's probably going to want to get
Attacking
involved.
output.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a couple goals in that game.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that's the team. I don't think I'll be making any changes for now.
Sweet. Great stuff, Night Show. Yeah, we definitely still got time for questions from the community, and we're going to go straight into it, boys. Thank you so much for watching on. Yeah, I've been seeing the comments coming through on the side, but obviously, as always, conducting the show with Nitro, we always try and address these later on. So we're going to come to it. Astrolicious says he's in Nitro's camp. I went with Gilmore to Embuemo and Lukaku to Kane. Kane, we didn't even mention Kane. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we talked about
Oh.
Vardy, but Kane, he's up against West Ham, right? And I think he does pretty well in those fixtures. Is he an option for those managers out there?
Oh, you bring up a good point. I think
Rested
I
in
was so
midweek as well,
blinded
by
by
the way.
Vardy.
Yeah, he didn't even make the trip to Holland last night, so he will be
Oh,
well rested. So very interesting. This.
yeah, he plays West Ham. I don't expect that game to be a clean sheet. I really think there will be goals. Just the nature of West Ham, right?
Yeah.
So I think he's a really good pick. Just bear in mind they face United after. I don't know why Everton's rated a 4. I think because of their form, but I think the Everton game is a pretty good matchup. And then, of course, by game week 12, we have a really nice run. So actually, now that you mention it, Kane's a pretty good pick as well. It's just Kane
Get
is
him
more
early on
expensive.
as well.
Yeah, yeah. Kane, just have to keep in mind Kane is. Oh wait, Lukaku. Yeah, Kane, you'll need a bit of money, whereas Vardy is a downgrade, and it
Yeah,
save you
yeah,
money. So as long as you
correct.
can do it, if you can do it, it's pretty good. So that's a good move you've made there, and you've jumped on Mbuemo.
Yeah.
Great pick, I think.
Okay. Vincent asked, should he play Smith Rowe or Tierney this week?
Ooh, okay, so playing Villa, I have a bias for backing attackers over defenders. I'm also playing Smith Rowe over my defender Ben White.
Hmm.
Oh, you have Tierney though. Tierney's pretty. They'll definitely back Tierney over Ben White.
He had the crossbar in the last game, didn't he?
Did he? I didn't watch the last one. I didn't watch the last game.
Against Crystal Palace. I'm
Oh,
sure he did. He smashed one against the crossbar. So he gets in good positions for me, Kieran Tierney. Big fan of him. Really, really like him. Puts good balls into the box, gets into good areas within the box as well to kind of finish off. So it's a tough one. That I mean, I think the main question is, I mean, we know Tierney starts. How nailed on is Smith Rowe?
I think Smith Rowe should be pretty nailed as well, considering Saka is kind of doubtful. I haven't heard any news
He
from him.
trained yesterday,
Oh, right, he did train.
Saka. Yeah.
We'll have to see. I would still think Smith Rowe is likely to start.
Okay.
Actually, will we get that? We'll get lineups pretty soon, right? Or no?
Well, you won't because they've changed the deadline, but you're going to look
Uh,
out for those leaks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing to keep in mind is I would love for a clean sheet, but I don't know why. I feel like Arsenal aren't going to keep a clean sheet, and that's
Mm.
going to work not in Tierney's favor, right? So you're going to really bank on Tierney trying to get an attacking return if he loses that clean sheet. So I personally, I should have more faith, but I personally don't think Arsenal will keep a clean sheet. It could be like one goal, but one goal is enough to wipe out that clean
Yeah.
sheet, as we know.
Those
So
points.
that's
So
why
Smith
I'm going
Rowe
to
over
back.
Tierney for you, yeah?
I would back Smith Rowe, yes.
Okay. Uh, MX Cross asks, thoughts on Vardy price rising again tonight?
All right. So I think I've just pulled up the price change thing. He is probably going to rise by tonight. I think Havertz
I
will
think
rise
him,
first.
Havertz, and Buemo. I mean, there's quite a few
Yeah.
that look nailed on. But there's one
Yeah.
thing that I've learned, especially when I played my wild card in the last couple of weeks, was that don't trust FPL statistics anymore. I mean, got burnt quite a few times from them, to be honest with you. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's as accurate as it used to be
Yeah.
for whatever reason. But yeah, I mean, it wouldn't as well. It wouldn't be a surprise because I expect a lot of Vardy owners to be popping up. I expect a lot of Havertz owners. I think Havertz rising prices as well tonight. He'll be backed quite a bit. So yeah, yeah. Any particular thoughts on it? I guess on Vardy's price rising.
As always, I guess the price rise shouldn't be the most important thing. If you feel that Vardy is the pick you want to go with, if you think
Yeah,
he's a good pick for a
or
long
not.
term, then definitely go for him. Don't let the price rise or whatever price change affect your decision solely.
Okay. We'll move on from that. BJ Garth, hey Greg, hey, how you doing? Thanks for joining the stream. Really appreciate it, especially as it's so late on in the night over here in Malaysia or Singapore or wherever you are in Asia, if you are. Mark, Brighton beat City last season. Yeah, touched on that just now. Thanks for that. They are a dangerous team. We know they play good football. Love Graham Potter, big fan of him. But can they do it again? I think that's the big question. And maintain their position that they're in. MX Cross says, my team this week, 3-4-3. Ben Foster, Trent, Rudiger, Cancelo, Salah captain, Rafinha, Sarr, Smith Rowe, Vardy vice captain, Jimenez, and Antonio. On the bench, he's got Sanchez, Allen, Semedo, Williams. Just touching on, if you didn't join us earlier on in the show, there is a bit of doubt on Jimenez. Now that's popped up in the last couple of hours for Raul Jimenez. There is a doubt about him, I repeat. I think Langer came out and said that, he'll make a decision on the day of the match. I don't think he's fully trained. So, yeah, you might just want to watch that. You've got, 25 minutes to go. Just give that a bit of research if you need to. But in the event that Jimenez is not available for MX Cross's team, who would you suggest, Nitro? Would you go for a direct switch down to Huang, especially when they got a pretty tasty fixture against a depleted lead side? Would you fancy that, or is there someone else that catches your
eye? Just to clarify, I think he's already made one transfer, right?
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. One free transfer from Ronaldo to Vardy.
Yeah, I think his bench is pretty good already. I think Allen will be coming in, right? Allen will be coming in.
Allen, yeah.
Yeah. If you're willing, the -4 to Huang could be okay. I would hold. Zoe would say take the hit, but I would hold. Because
I mean my thing would be take the hit too, just because you've got Alan, who's more of a defensive minded midfielder. But saying that, you could easily play Semedo and trying to get some attack in return or a clean sheet from Wolves. I mean, let's not forget, there's no Brentford up there. They're facing quite a bit of a crisis at the back as well. Leeds, so they haven't looked great this season, if I'm being perfectly honest. So you could do that if you wanted to save a -4. So yeah, I mean there's something in that, but
I wouldn't be against the -4 to Huang. Yeah. That would be a pretty good move.
I mean, it'll be a -4 to Huang, or there's no Mbuemo in that team, so he could go to Tony as well, and get a good run of form for Brentford. He'll be getting him some cash in the bank as well. So a couple of options there for you, MX Cross. You don't have long to think about that because deadline is fast approaching. We'll move on to Mark, who says, I have Zaha and something inside me is tempted to captain him. Probably will go safe with Mo, need to maintain rank. I mean, what is tempting you to go with Zaha?
I think the Newcastle fixture.
I'm sorry, but I'm not going to say that's a bit of left field that Zaha picked as captain. Getting in my team is a hassle in itself, but captaining him is totally different. But what are your thoughts on that, Nitro?
I have a very bad history with Zaha in FPL. I always bring him in, and then he just does. He's kind of like a Mahrez, He does really well. He hauls, and everyone jumps on him, and he doesn't do well for the next couple of fixtures. So I have a personal vendetta with him. At the same time, he didn't play the last game. There must have been a reason, and I just not much to show. So the fixture is nice. I would say if you have him, just play him. I wouldn't captain him. If you want to have fun, captain him. Just know that if Salah scores a brace, you're going to have to face the consequences.
Yeah, not too sure what Mark's rank is. I'm just going to follow up with his next message. Kane over Vardy to preempt that game week 12 run, I think. I think that's a sensible move for you. I do fancy Kane scoring against West Ham. I think his record's pretty good. And just following on a little bit lower down, tempted to bench Trent for Sarr. Everton are missing their best centre-back in Mina. Decore also missing in that midfield. It's not totally out of the question that, looking at that, I expect United to score personally in that fixture. Then, like every other defender, you're banking on a return from Trent, which could easily happen as well. So it's one of those which you got to toss it up. But I like Sarr. I think he's a good player. So that'll be a decision for you to make, I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. And I completely forgot Decore is out. That was a big blow for Everton. So you bring up a great point. You have Sarr, so it makes the decision that you have a decision to make. I didn't have the flexibility of Sarr, so I had to play Trent as my premium defender. But that I wouldn't be against that, as Craig has mentioned. That's a pretty good move, sensible.
Sweet. We're going to the next one. Sanshiro Kabu. Hey guys, who should I take out, Sarr or Ben Rama for Havertz? Yeah, this is right up your alley, I think, Nitro. Go for it. Take it away.
Well, we just talked about Sarr and the pros for starting him. I would definitely, if you can afford it, definitely do Ben Rama to Havertz. I think it's going to be famous last words, but I think he's going to start running dry a little bit. I need to find a way to get rid of him too eventually. So, yeah, we'll definitely pick Ben Rama over Sarr in this case.
Okay, Ben Rama over Sarr to take out of the team for Havertz. Just going to remind you about that.
Yes.
Going to go scroll down a little bit more. One's or homie. Which one would you do, Nick? Kane and Mbeumo or Havertz and Vardy? Ooh. Tell you what, now you're talking. This is where you get on the spot, mate. This is where, this is where you're right there and have to make the big decisions for other people. And then follow up from that is who? Sorry, not this one. But who would you bench, Hwang or Ben Rama?
All right, let's do the first one first. That was a really good question.
Yeah, the first one is good. I'll just put that up again.
I'm going to think out loud just a little bit, not too long. Kane and Mbeumo, we're looking at pretty decent long-term fixtures. I know Kane's going to face United pretty soon, as in the game week after this. And Mbeumo's got good fixtures. Havertz has a good short-term fixture, and if Lukaku stops coming back, the security of his position will be threatened. Vardy is a very good long-term pick. All right. If I had to pick one. All right. I think I would go Havertz and Vardy, provided that Kane's going to come later down the road, if I can say that. Yeah, because the Norwich game is hard to ignore. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think that's the sticking point. And Vardy's form as well. I think you got to take that into consideration. I mean, Kane's not exactly in the richest vein of forms. Got his first goal in the Premier League last week, so, not exactly firing on all cylinders. Neither are Spurs. So, I can see the sense in that, really.
Yeah. But it's a good question. That's a really, really good question.
So are you going to go with...
I'll go with the latter.
Havertz and Vardy.
Havertz and Vardy.
Okay. And this one, quickly, who would you bench, Hwang or Ben Rama?
I would go Ben Rama to bench.
Okay.
I did consider benching him before, as mentioned earlier. And we've also talked about Jimenez being a doubt and Hwang facing a leaky lead side.
Yeah. Okay. Vincent likes to switch it up a little bit. And he's asking you, let's change the dilemma a little bit. Smith Rowe or Livramento?
Ooh, that's good because as you can see from my team, I've started both. So, it's a good question, Vincent.
I love this. This shows this quality because you've been put on the spot quite a bit here.
All right. Let's think about it. So earlier I mentioned I like to back attackers over defenders, but Livramento is playing Burnley at home. And Livramento has surprised, I think, a lot of us. He's passed the eye test. He's a pretty good attacking defender. He gets in the box, gets involved.
He does. Very good.
So honestly, he's not too far off from an attacking player, if I do say so myself. So could be Livramento, against Burnley at home. Yeah, I might go with Livramento, but two good options. Obviously, if you have the freedom like me to start both, definitely start both. But if you had to pick one, Livramento. Okay,
there we go. Nick, I think that's the last question for today. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I know it's a late one, but I did remind you that Arsenal are kicking it off very shortly. We got a last minute question. As always, as just before we finish off, Mark, a Saints fan here. I trust our defense would 100% play Livramento.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I'm not 100% sure about that clean sheet, but I love Livramento in the sense that his first thing is to attack. Every time he gets on it, and I'm a big fan of him. I'm not too sure I trust your defense like you do, Mark, but you know better than me. You watch a lot more Southampton, so it's up to Vincent if he wants to take your word for it, or does he want to take the Arsenal fan Nitro's word for it? Let's see.
I mean, I backed Livramento too, so
true, fair. But it's a good one. It's a good dilemma to have. This is the last question of the day, as always, from Vincent. No
Of
problem.
course.
We still got a bit of time. Guys, don't forget 20 minutes until the deadline. Yeah. So if you haven't done your transfers, if you haven't done your team like me, please do it quickly, just to avoid the last minute mayhem that usually occurs. Vincent, this last question of the day, guys. Lewis Dunk to score a winning free kick this week. I think this should be directed at what's the name, Sweng. This is a question for Sweng. This is. I mean, I remember how he got burnt last season from Lewis Dunk's free kick, and he was not happy about it. Probably still hasn't got over it till this day. Not sure what he expects you to say here, Nitro, but yeah, you can take
I
that
will say
away.
if Lewis Dunk does score a free kick against City, I think FPL Expectations Twitter is going to blow up. I'm telling you that, Vincent.
Only if you're calling it. If you're calling it right now, then it will. But if you're saying that, it's a flat out no, probably won't. I think most accounts would probably be on that bandwagon. But yeah, so I'm guessing that's a no. Just
Yeah,
to answer the
well,
question.
it would be a huge differential if you
Yeah.
have Dunk and he scores.
You might as well captain him, Vincent, if you're that confident. But I'll leave that to you to decide. Nitro, I'm going to close up again. Thank you so much for coming on. It's been fun as always. Totally enjoyed, doing the show with you as I always do. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you haven't done your transfers, again, just a quick reminder: please get it done. You've got 20 minutes, less than 20 minutes to do your team, to do your transfers, and get your team sorted ahead of game week 9. Don't forget Arsenal kickoff against Aston Villa in just over an hour and a half. Nitro, you're glad I've reminded you about that, aren't you?
Yeah.
But thanks for joining us. Good luck to you. Good luck to Arsenal as well. I hope you maintain your rank. What is it set out right now?
It's 13K right now.
13K in the world. Absolutely incredible. So I hope it's green arrows for you this week to break into that top 10K. I don't think you're too far off in terms of points. So yeah, good luck to you. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Craig. As always, love talking about FPL, love the community and the interactions. And yes, thank you for reminding me about the Arsenal game. I wish you guys the best of luck. May your arrows be green as well.
Yep, and thank you everyone for watching FPL Expectations. Hope you have a green arrow week, like Nitro said. May the FPL gods be with you. Captain well, captain wisely. No Lewis Dunk is basically what I'm telling you. But thank you for tuning in, even though it was a very, 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 very late, especially for us here in Malaysia and Singapore. It was a very late show. But yeah, all the best for game week 9. And this is me, Craig Marias, signing out.